Well, hello guys! So, I'm learning a new language in order to finish 2 new projects by the end of the month. So the main question is, what language do I learn? The answer is Kotlin. And the reason why I learn Kotlin is because I want to design 2 new Android applications without using Java. As you know, Java changed their politics at the first days of the year. So, as you know also, Kotlin was contracted with Google at 2017, and as all say, Kotlin is gonna be the primary framework, or language that they're gonna use for Android development. So, I wanna give it a try. So, how I really jump from one language to the other? The answer is easy. Once you learn one language, it's easy to understand the next language and get the next step to it, because you know the fundamentals of it, you know the basic things, array, loops, and all the things that all languages have. The big struggle comes only the first time that you learn a language. My first time that I learned a language was at the university, the first year of it, and I learned C++. That was a difficult language, but as I read a book and started programming easy code with it, I understand it. The main fundamental that you have to understand in order to learn any programming language is that you don't have to really truly master the language, but you have to understand the main functions of it and how to read it. So, if you have a new problem or something that you don't know, you get to the documentation or Stack Overflow, you ask a question and you find it and you learn to use it. So, keep in mind that always you have to understand the main fundamentals of the language and not all the language. No one really understands or knows everything about language. As you know, languages get updated too often, so you cannot be too good in a lot of languages, but you can understand them really good and succeed in your tasks. That's the most basic thing that you have to do. So, what are the 3 ways that are the best, in my opinion, in order to learn a language? You can use them all together, or you can use one way in order to start a language. First, I believe the most accomplished way in order to understand a language is by reading the documentation of it. Start by taking some days and reading carefully the documentation of it and understand how it works and what modules or things it uses. In order to get used to how it operates, how it handles things, and how to understand the fundamentals of this specific language. The second way, which sometimes I prefer in some languages that are more hardware or embedded based languages, is by learning by doing things. Like, you start with Visual Studio, you open it and you start writing code. You start writing the basics of this new language. You may find yourself struggling and doing a lot of errors, but with this structure you will be more successful, I believe, because you learn more quicker and you don't only see things but you write too. But you can also get it with documentation too. You can open documentation and write at the same time. The third way, and I believe it's not so good as the 2 others that I have said, is by reading a book. I believe by reading a book you don't learn too many things, because you don't get yourself at writing code, and it takes too much time in order to read all the book and then start coding. So I believe you must do all of them, or you must match all of them separately. I believe it depends on the language. If you learn, for example, C++, you may also want to do something embedded, like write C++ with Arduino. If you do something with frameworks like Vue.js or React or Angular, you may find yourself first reading documentation and then start coding, or start coding and doing documentation too. In other languages such as maybe Python, you may find yourself reading too fast documentation and then start coding. So it really depends, I believe, on the language and what level are your knowledge in the previous languages. In conclusion, I want from you to know that you must be versatile in order to succeed in your projects and your job, because most of the times you will have to learn new libraries or new modules at the language that you use. So, in general in programming, you have to be very versatile and jump from one thing to the other. Most of the times that you take a project, this project is gonna be much more easier in one language than in the other. So you must carefully choose what language to use in order to finish it more easier, quicker, and also to be more good at the future updates that will come. Always keep that in mind. Stay tuned guys, also leave a like and subscribe. Feel free to ask me anything about it.